Afternoon and welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner alongside Eric Chilton today.
Yeah, we have a lot to cover today, making sure that you're up to speed with everything that's going on in your community. But while we do that, we want you to stay connected to us. Make sure you check out WFMY News 2's Facebook page and YouTube channel as well. We're streaming live there so we can interact with you. Use that hashtag 4 to 5.
Well, let's start with an update just into the WFMY News 2 Information Center. Work on the new arena at High Point University is now delayed. The school says when the pandemic picked up back in March, construction on that new arena and conference center slowed down. Initially, it was set to be ready this fall or in early winter. Now the school says construction will be done in time for the 2021 basketball season. And we'll jump right in here with your 4 to 5 roundup. For the second time this week, firefighters responded to several homes on fire in Ocean Isle Beach. Houses caught on fire late Monday night after Hurricane Isaias came ashore. But this latest fire happened around 1 o'clock this morning. People who live nearby tell us it sounded like an explosion. We'll hear more from a Guilford County woman vacationing just down the street coming up at 5. Some big news out of New York today. The state's attorney general filed a lawsuit aimed at shutting down the NRA. The lawsuit argues that several high-ranking executives used millions of dollars meant for the NRA for personal benefit. An 18-month-long investigation led to the lawsuit. Now, the NRA responded by countersuing and filing its own lawsuit against the AG. Remember this video we showed you earlier this week on the 4 to 5? Police were called to this large party at a Los Angeles mansion, a violation of the city's ban on house parties. Now, police couldn't go inside the house because they didn't have a search warrant, but now city officials are taking action, saying they'll shut off power or water at homes where large parties are happening. The mayor of LA says this will start tomorrow. Well, the Carolina Panthers want to make sure you remember to vote this November in a new PSA called Your Vote Counts. Trey Boston, Teddy Bridgewater, Christian McCaffrey, Shaq Thompson, and NFL legend Julius Peppers encourage people to head to the polls this fall. In addition to this PSA, the team announced Bank of America Stadium will be used as an early voting site starting in October.
Well, high school sports delayed again, but college football, that's moving forward. The ACC announcing its fall schedule here, so that's big news. We are following two big stories that will impact both athletes and fans all across the state. We'll start with Luke Liddon here. Luke, it'll be a little bit longer before high school games start this fall.
Yeah, Eric, with the governor's announcement about extending phase 2 throughout the state of North Carolina for the next 5 or so weeks, we all felt maybe it was inevitable that would have an impact on the high school sports season. And unfortunately, it did. The North Carolina High School Athletic Association announced earlier today they've pushed back the start date of the fall sports season beyond September 1st. Several counties had already started their summer workouts, such as East Surrey. But in the meantime, Cardinals' Benji Gosnell says you just need to treat every day as if it's the start of the season was next week.
It's easier to get yourself motivated, but when things are so unpredictable, it's hard to have the right mindset to, okay, grind every day. But I just got to keep my mindset like we're playing in 2 weeks. We're playing the game of our lives in a month. I just got to keep grinding every day, and that's what I try to do.
Now, there's still no set date yet for when they anticipate the start of the season to happen. We, of course, will let you know when that announcement has been made right here on WFMY News 2. Also, we'll hear from many more coaches and players coming up at 5 and 6 o'clock. But speaking of college football, a pretty exciting day for all the fans, you think, as the new ACC schedule was released, Amanda. We got some good matchups, too.
Hey, if you're a high school or college football fan, we've got dates and matchups set up for you. Hey, it's something for all of us to look forward to. But however, Wake Forest has a pretty tough schedule, at least to start the season. Here's a look at the Deacs' first 3 games. They're set to kick the season off at home against Clemson, the team that went to the national championship last year. And the Tigers, they're ranked #1 in the preseason in the coaches poll. A rough home opener for them. Then the Deacs will head to play NC State. After that, they technically have a home game against Notre Dame, but that'll be played in a neutral location, Charlotte. Wake Forest has 11 games total, 10 conference and 1 non-conference. Meantime, Duke opens the season away at Notre Dame. NC State heads to Virginia Tech before its home opener against Wake Forest. And North Carolina will host Syracuse for its first game. Remember, Wake Forest won the Big Four last year, beat all North Carolina schools. The Deacs did that all at home. Now they'll have to beat them all the way this year. The Deacs have preseason practice starting today. If you want a full look at their schedule, head on over to our website, WFMYnews2.com.
Amanda, thank you. Well, today we got an update on the state of the coronavirus in North Carolina. This coming from Wake Forest Dr. Christopher Ohl. He said the recent numbers are promising but urged caution this summer, and he warned that recent clusters of cases are linked to vacation, especially ones between friends and extended family.
Remember that your household is a bubble and your brother-in-law's household out in West Virginia is a bubble, and if you all get in together in one beach house, your two bubbles have fused. And so if they have been exposed somewhere and you're now together, everyone's exposed.
Dr. Ohl also pushed back on a drug initially used to treat COVID-19 patients. Now, President Donald Trump has repeatedly touted hydroxychloroquine as a treatment, but Dr. Ohl says we've known that is not true for weeks.
Well, I thought we settled the hydroxychloroquine questions a month and a half ago. And the randomized controlled trials, and there's been 5 now, show it doesn't work for COVID.
Well, it is certainly not the first time that President Trump has faced some backlash for making comments that medical experts say are wrong. But for the first time ever, Facebook removed a post from the president's page in which he made a false claim that kids are immune from the coronavirus. Facebook says those comments were harmful misinformation. Twitter also demanded that Trump's campaign delete a tweet with the same video and freeze the account until officials agreed to take that tweet down. But President Trump defended his comments while speaking with the media last night.
If you look at children, I mean, they're able to throw it off very easily. They may get it, but they get it, and it doesn't have much of an impact on them.
Now, it is true that children are not impacted by the virus in the same way that adults are, but kids are not immune. Health officials say more than 250,000 kids under the age of 17 have been infected since the start of the pandemic.
A little bit warm out there, but we've seen worse, that's for sure, with current temperatures at 85 at the airport in Greensboro. That's not bad. We were in those mid-90s for a while. We will get back to right around 90 degrees for a few days in our long range. We'll talk about that in a minute. But short term, looking good. 85 degrees here, 75 and 77 in Raleigh and Fayetteville. Now, you would think they'd be warmer. Normally, they would be a degree or two. But with the rain that they're seeing down east right now, there's some thunderstorms down that way, more so than what we're seeing here so far. That could change. 70 degrees will be our overnight low with scattered thunderstorms. We could see some flooding. We think in the next day or so that we might see some slightly increased rain chances, thunderstorms that sort of develop and sit over you for a while. So we'll watch for that. 86 will be the high temperature tomorrow. It will be a warm and muggy day. Here's what it looks like with thunderstorms across our area. Most of this is like an Allegheny Ashwauga area, and then southern Alamance is really seeing some heavier rains right around the Burlington area and south of Burlington too. You can see that goes from Mebane all the way over to Raleigh and down toward Sanford and that neck of the woods, and Dunn, North Carolina. It's a heavy line of thunderstorms through that region. Now, rain chances, though, as we look at our long range here, it's a 50-50 shot tomorrow afternoon and evening with a nice high of 86. That's not bad, but we get dry and hot as we go Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We'll hover right around 90 degrees each of those days. Mostly dry. The rain chances, late day variety, pop-up storms. If we get it, it's only a 20 to 30% chance, so not a great chance. Bring that back to a more normal 40%, we think, as we head into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. High temperatures, though, that mugginess is going to hang out with us again for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Not so much for the weekend, but back in again for that time period. Look for overnight lows for the entire week to hover between about 70 and 71 degrees for overnight lows.
Canceled or delayed events are just part of the new normal these days, but I wanted to know, what are you missing the most right now? Head on over to my Facebook page or join our conversation. Just use our hashtag 4to5. We're going to talk about it after this break. Welcome back to your 4 to 5. A second stimulus deal still not reached. More students starting the year online, and New York cracking down on travelers for COVID-19 hotspots. Here are the 3 things you need to know about the pandemic nationwide today. New York City officials are setting up quarantine checkpoints. Travelers will be stopped at tunnels and bridges. Anyone is from one of the states under a travel advisory will have to quarantine for 14 days. North Carolina is included in that travel advisory. If you violate that order, you could be fined hundreds of dollars. Chicago officials announced that its 350,000 plus students will start the year online. Now, up until this week, the plan was for some kids to go back into classrooms, but health officials say the number of new cases is rising each day, and it's just too risky for kids, parents, and teachers. White House officials want Senate and House lawmakers to reach a deal on a new coronavirus relief bill by tomorrow. Democrats and Republicans are still talking, but have not reached an agreement. Now, when they do agree on a new plan, it is expected to include a second stimulus payment. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin says once a bill is signed, the payments will be sent out almost immediately and will be delivered the same way you received the first payment. Again, at this time, a deal on the second stimulus has not been reached, but we'll keep you updated. Another lingering impact of the pandemic is all of those delayed and canceled events. Right now, the Summer Olympics in Tokyo should be happening, but the games were delayed until 2021. But with things delayed, the big set of Olympic rings in Tokyo may need to be repaired. They were installed 7 months ago, but now they need to be cleaned and undergo another safety inspection. The rings will be gone for the next 4 months and during that process, but they'll be reinstalled before the Olympics next year. This is obviously just the latest event to be canceled because of the pandemic, so I ask you on my Facebook page, which canceled event will you miss most this year? Let's take a look at what you had to say. Lauren Randall said the Olympics. He was really looking forward to rhythmic gymnastics. Christina Cromwell says she'll miss the Kentucky Derby. Johnny Tarleton is bringing it back home. He says, the barbecue festival. I'm with you, Johnny. Pam Younger said concerts and shows at the new Tanger Center. If they don't have UNC basketball or football, I'll be heartbroken. And Pam, I know 2 Tar Heels who agree with you. They just happen to be right here on your screen. Eric,
That's
it's not
exactly
looking
right.
good, but we're going to hold out hope.
Hey, football, right now we have a schedule with 6 home games for Carolina, but they haven't said anything about basketball. We'll see. And, of course, that remains to be seen. That's what they're planning on right now. Just a note to that one viewer who asked, the Derby is on September 5th for right now, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think we all kind of hope that those events being pushed back would mean that they could happen this year. I know a couple of friends who had wedding dates in the summer and spring, and they've had to move them back to the fall, and now they're eyeing those again thinking, okay, what do I do? Do I have this? Do I have a smaller group? Do I just push it back to 2021? It's a lot to think about.
It is, and it's just honestly, it's a week by week, kind of month by month thing until we get a handle on this thing.
I tell you what event hit me the most, though, is the Radio City Christmas Spectacular, the Rockette Show in New York City. They announced this week that it wasn't going to happen this year. Eric, I don't know why that one hit me so differently. I think it's because when all this started in March, in my head, we were done with it, long gone by the holidays, and now it's looking like we may need to take precautions even then. So that one was tricky for me.
Yeah, when it gets to the holidays, I think it's going to affect a lot of people even worse because there's so many events you look forward to, whether it's something like that's a national thing you might see on TV or if it's local. I mean, I'm with you. I thought by about August, September, we'd be done with this. We'll see how it goes.
All right, more of the 4 to 5 is coming up after this break. But you know what? We are live all the time on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. Just use our hashtag 4 to 5 and join our conversation.
So if somebody looked at your bookshelves, what would be the oldest book you have? And then what would you say is the one that meant the most to you, that was most influential in your life? So One Triad Nonprofit is exploring this with a virtual book discussion. I spoke with their director, Jamie Rogers Southern, about the program, but a quick note here, some of the images you're going to see, because this program is so new, were pre-coronavirus. So you'll see people gathered in groups safely.
Jamie, not only is this event pretty cool, but what you guys do every day is as well. Kind of tell us what Bookmarks is all about for people that don't know.
Bookmarks is a literary arts nonprofit based in Winston-Salem. We started off as a book festival in 2004 and have grown from there into year-round programming, working with schools, and then our nonprofit independent bookstore opened in 2017.
So this event is neat to me because of the nostalgia factor. Explain what the event, tell us what it's called, and then kind of go into what we can do with this.
Sure, the Show and Tell Shelves is the name of the event, and the idea around it is, since you can't invite friends into your homes right now, this is a nice way to invite people in, show them your books in a relaxed, casual setting, and just have a nice evening talking about books that you love.
And really you're going back to like some of your oldest books on the shelves, which I love that, because in some cases that might actually end up being a children's book, you know?
Yeah, the idea is to talk about books that maybe are the oldest in your collection, or books that you've had for a really long time, books that you're nostalgic about, maybe some books that inspired you to read in the first place.
It seems like you guys are always trying to come up with innovative ways to keep us reading, and especially in a pandemic when we can't go out as much as we'd like to, it seems like reading would be the thing that people should be turning to.
Reading has really provided a great escape for a lot of people during this time, myself included. Just dropping into a good book and escaping our current situation has been a big stress reliever.
I believe it. I'm with you on that. You guys are doing great work. Thank you so much for being with us today, and good luck with this event.
So if you'd like more information so you can participate, I have linked you to their website on this story on WFNYnews2.com. So I asked you on Facebook those two questions. What's your oldest book, or maybe the one that's most influential? Here's what you had to say. Roger Shelton chimed in, the oldest published book I have is one that belonged to my grandfather, who was born in 1888. He said it was printed before copyright dates were used in the books. Sandy Gruber says, I have a copy of Ben-Hur that is yellowed and almost brittle with age. Ben-Hur was first published in 1880, so I think this edition may date back that far. Again, just like our previous viewer, there's no copyright date in that book. You have to get those checked out. Carrie says, Jonathan Livingston Seagull. My mom gave it to me as a teen. I've always been inspired by his determination, and no matter what others thought, it is a great read. Teresa Galloway says, General Grant, and he signed it in quill. I wonder what it's worth now. She paid $100 for it at a benefit for hospice, she says, 15 years ago. She said, I bought it because I love history. Wayne Jarrett said his most influential book was simply Montana Sky. And Anne-Marie Radall said Frank Kafka's Metamorphosis. So lots of varied answers there.
Well, still ahead, shoppers are still finding empty shelves when they go looking for things like Clorox wipes. So what's behind the shortage? Coming up, we're going to connect the dots. We'll be back.
Yeah, it's a little hot out there today. Not as bad as it has been in weeks past, but we'll take it. 85 degrees is 85 degrees, right? Burlington's up to 90 right now, 87 in High Point and Lexington. We have 84 in Asheboro, Mount Airy at 84 degrees as well. You have to go to the mountains to get to the 70s, where they're seeing some low to mid 70s in the higher elevations. Across the region, look at the radar. Yep, starting to light up a little bit from Allegheny, Ashe, and Watauga counties. They're seeing some showers, also some around Montgomery, and then Alamance County and over toward Durham and Orange counties, we're seeing some lightning strikes with those thunderstorms moving through. It is clearing out of Alamance County. Give us another 45 minutes or so. That one should be moving away. Could we see more? Yes, there is that possibility, because we're just sort of hovering with that stationary front right over the top of us. We'll have the 7-day coming up.
It has become a must-have product during this global pandemic. I'm talking about disinfectant wipes, but at least one manufacturer is warning they won't be fully restocked until next year. Let's connect the dots. While toilet paper has thankfully returned to store shelves, some other products remain hard to find, and that includes disinfectant wipes. Now the head of Clorox has told Reuters they don't expect its popular wipes to be back on store shelves in force until 2021. While part of the problem is the overwhelming demand, the industry is running into supply chain issues. According to 7th Generation, which also makes popular disinfectant wipes, the issue is raw materials. And the raw materials used for wipes are the same ones used for personal protective equipment. That includes things like masks, medical gowns, and medical wipes. That doesn't mean you still can't disinfect. Other products like disinfectant sprays and soaps are still widely available, according to manufacturers. And they are planning on keeping up increased output even after there's a vaccine, predicting that cleaning will be a part of our new normal.
So everybody's stressed out right now, from back to school, finances, coronavirus cases. Sometimes everybody just feels like you gotta let it out somehow. Well, in the country of Jordan, listen to this, the axe throwing shop has opened up specifically to help people who are stressed out. The owner says they've been busy with lots of people coming in needing to vent some anger connected to the pandemic. By the way, in addition to axe throwing, businesses like ones that allow you to destroy TVs or throw plates at a wall, they're also popular right now as well. I remember seeing the axe throwing and the plate thing even in our neck of the woods before.
Absolutely. We have a couple of places that do it. It's funny because a friend of mine just built an axe throwing target in the backyard. I don't know if it's related to the pandemic, but it's making me wonder now. I don't have the desire to throw or break anything, but I do find that exercise helps me release some of that frustration.
I would like to try the axe thing just to see if I could do the revolution and make it stick, but it's not really a stress reliever for me. It's more of a contest.
Right. I get too competitive about it, and then I don't like to be bad at things, and I'm bad at that. So it's not, it's not my cup of tea. We'll be right back, though. Don't throw anything. Keep the remote in your hand. We're coming back after this.
Again? Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination.
Good afternoon. Welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Eric Chilton alongside Maddie Gardner.
Yes, of course, we are here to inform you, make you feel connected, and let you into our world. Use our hashtag 4 to 5 to stay connected throughout the show. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Twitter and Facebook. Wherever you are, we're there too. You simply cannot avoid the 4 to 5. Well, let's get right into the news of the day. 5 more weeks of phase 2 in North Carolina. So for restaurants, that means a smaller number of diners allowed inside and spacing people 6 feet apart. Fewer customers, in turn, means less money. Downtown Greensboro says they have a solution, allowing restaurants to move tables into the street.
You know, the restaurants, because they've been so limited in their capacity, they're able to expand out into the sidewalk, and essentially the road becomes the sidewalk. And so Elm Street, in this case, we'll be able to walk comfortably down Elm Street.
President of DGI, Zach Matheny, says up to 12 restaurants plan to move dining to sidewalks and streets on Friday and Saturdays. This starts tomorrow and runs through August, longer if all goes well.
This is survival mode. You are in survival. Some of these restaurants haven't been open really since March. And so this is their first foray back into being open. And so we hope that folks will feel comfortable enough to come down, support these small business shops, support our retailers and our restaurants, and to re-engage in an appropriate manner, health-wise, with each other and the businesses.
Matheny says they worked closely with the fire department and public health to make sure they're doing everything in the safest way possible. Now, this does mean Elm Street, starting at Market Street, will be closed to traffic.
Well, some education news with back to school just a few weeks out. The UNC School of the Arts is prioritizing students' mental health with some new funding that is meant to support some new programs. Pretty cool here. A nearly $20,000 grant will fund things like Talk Campus. That's a social media platform focused on mental health and grief and trauma training. That's for staff and student leaders there. School officials say they applied for this grant using feedback from students as they moved online learning in March. Another back to school story for you now. Students in Catawba County schools will be allowed what they are calling face mask breaks. Pretty good idea if you ask me here. They go back to school under Plan B, which is a mix of in-person and online learning. Anybody inside the school will be required to wear a mask. So to help kids, they can take breaks when they are 6 feet apart from other students. These breaks are intended to be quick and not last more than just a few minutes.
Let's get to some more headlines in today's 4 to 5 roundup, and we'll begin with coronavirus updates. North Carolina state officials say every inmate currently incarcerated has now been tested. 619 inmates tested positive. That's about 2% of all inmates. State leaders say that number is much lower than other state prison systems have reported. And in the push to get more PPE supplies out, the state says it has given 3.5 million cloth masks away. A good chunk of those supplies went to schools, first responders, and nursing homes. You'll have to wait a little bit longer to book your next cruise. Cruise ships will stay docked until at least October. That's 1 month later than the current no-sell advice from the Centers for Disease Control. Cruise ships were at the center of several coronavirus outbreaks when the pandemic started. The group that oversees all cruise lines says in case numbers improve, they would consider restarting those trips sooner. And today marks 75 years since a U.S. warplane dropped a bomb on the city of Hiroshima during World War II. 140,000 people died as a result of the atomic bomb. Today, a moment of silence was honored at the exact time that bomb exploded. The city held an official ceremony to honor the moment in history despite the pandemic, saying it was too significant of an event to ignore. Strict social distancing guidelines were in place. Well, take a moment here and look at your screen. Have you seen this video? It's being shared everywhere online. A bride was taking her wedding photos just as the explosion happened in Lebanon on Tuesday. Right there it is. Well, it turns out she's also a doctor who works in the United States. Before she got to safety after that explosion, she stopped to check on people who were injured nearby. She told a reporter she is still in shock that the explosion happened on her wedding day, but she's grateful to be alive.
Well, this time of the year and this time of the day, everybody wants to see the radar. So that's what we'll do. We'll start with this. And you can see across the area, it's developing hit or miss, but a lot of it it's kind of like we're in the sweet spot here. We've got showers and thunderstorms in the mountains. And then to the east of us, if we zoom in a little bit, we'll show you, it looks like right around Alamance County and over toward Orange and Durham counties. That's where we're seeing most of the thunderstorm activity close to us. West of Montgomery County, a few there too. A lot of these are just kind of drifting slowly to the north as they move along, and that's mostly because of our winds being out of the southwest. Kind of muggy over the next day or so, thanks to that stationary front that does just that and stay stationary right over us. Here's your long range outlook. We're consistent. Tomorrow is the coolest day at 86, and that's actually below normal, believe it or not. Then we'll hover right around 90 for almost every day in the 7-day. Rain chances up a smidge tomorrow, still the same timing though, late day 50%. Then we're up to a 20-30%, very dry for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, back to a more normal 40% for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
All right, so when someone says, how will you be voting in election 2020?
Yeah, your mind automatically goes to either party or even a certain candidate.
You're right, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the physical act of voting. How will it look different this year?
What we're going to be doing is we're going to be opening up a lot of early voting sites for a lot of days, and we're going to be using the largest areas we can, gyms or the largest rooms, which will allow us to do social distancing during early voting. Our precinct officials are going to be wearing masks. They're going to be wearing plastic visors. We'll have some acrylic shields, gloves, disinfectants, that kind of thing. We'll be offering voters masks if they don't have one, and we'll be offering curbside voters for voters that due to disability cannot come into the polling place.
All right, but what about if you still do not want to vote here with everyone else? You feel safer voting from home? Well, no problem. An absentee or mail-in vote ballot will do the very same thing, and they're both the same thing, whether you use one term or the other. It's free. It's basically a 3-step process. We're talking about how to do it and the dates you need to know about that tonight at 6 o'clock. Now, speaking of the polls and your lawmakers who are now discussing a second stimulus bill, Fridays are always good, right? But tomorrow could be Stimulus Friday. The Senate and the House are expected to vote on a second stimulus bill, and it could happen, well, tomorrow before Senate takes a recess for the month of August. Today we have 2 experts talking about all of that, taking your questions, 336-379-5775. You can ask about the first stimulus, the second one, what could things look like. Our experts are here starting at 5:30.
All right, kids and screens, tough to separate, right? But we got to do it as parents. A new program might be able to help, and they might even learn something. How about that? We'll explain right after the break.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. From March 15th to now, more than 1.2 million North Carolinians have filed for unemployment benefits. Many families are living paycheck to paycheck and dealing with bad credit amid the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. So what if there was a way to buy something now and pay for it later in manageable installments? A Good Morning Show viewer, Joanne Mendoza, reached out. She asked, would you please verify a website called Afterpay USA? I want to know if it's safe and legit. So our Verify team reached out to the company Afterpay and Lachelle Yates with the Better Business Bureau of Central and Northwest North Carolina. This is a snapshot of the Afterpay website. It explains you sign up, browse and shop from your favorite stores, and select what you want to buy. If Afterpay approves the items, it purchases those items. You then pay back Afterpay in 4 installments every 2 weeks. No interest or fees if you pay on time. It sounds pretty simple, but is the company legitimate? That's where the Better Business Bureau comes in to help get us those answers.
According to our records, Afterpay started in 2017, so it has been around for a little while. But they do have 89 complaints filed against them, which has lowered their rating to a B- with BBB. On the plus side, though, they have responded to all their complaints.
The company's BBB profile shows the majority of these complaints are about refunds. Afterpay tends to respond to these BBB complaints in specific detail and within about a day. Yates says the manner in which a company responds to complaints can say a lot about its reputation.
Go to bbb.org and look at their business profile and read the complaints. See what issues consumers are having with the business. Is this something that you think could be an issue for you? Also, read the business's responses, because that'll tell you how they're going to respond to you in case you do end up having a problem.
Well, Yates also wants to remind you to use installment websites wisely, understand what could happen if you're late on a payment, and how your credit could be affected. For more information about Afterpay, you can check out this story on the Verify page of WFNYnews2.com.
So tighter finances also puts pressure on people trying to keep food on the table. This is pretty interesting. CBS this morning found out in some cases people are turning to what's called community fridges that are filled with fresh produce to get by. Check it out.
The quality of the food in here, like, those are some serious eggplants.
Yeah, and that's important to us, that people feel like they're getting quality food.
Alexis Mena and his brother Franklin run Universe City, an organization with a high-minded mission to create sustainable food systems designed by the community, employed by the community, for the benefit of the community.
In the last 4 months, we've been able to do 400,000 pounds of food. So that just gives people fresh and organic food that they might not always have the opportunity to purchase themselves. Eggplant, kale, cucumbers, squash.
They see the fridge as one more way they can reach their goal.
What the fridge allows is a way for people to connect on their terms and at their time.
Universe City and their food partners like City Harvest now support a loosely linked network of fridges around New York City. Free food fridges have been around for years, but the pandemic created the circumstances for a grassroots movement.
It's a network of individuals that took an interest in supporting our community and during the time where pantries were closing down. And when they shut down, it left more and more people, especially those who recently went into unemployment, without the resources they need in order to provide for their family.
And in a time when, millions of people are getting sick, and millions of Americans are out of work and are struggling to put food on the table, this is one way that you're doing your part.
Absolutely.
You can now find community fridges, sometimes called freeges, all across the country, each with its own personality. Like this one in Charlotte, North Carolina, created by Shamel Jackson.
Bread, vegetables, we have fruits at the bottom.
The fridge at Foco Cafe in Fort Collins, Colorado is filled with fresh produce from local farmers, restaurants, and gardens from around the community.
People are able to come by, grab a handful of carrots or whatever there might be in here, and be able to feed their families fresh, healthy, locally sourced food.
These fridges are a lifeline for people like Nick Garcia in New York, who lost his job back in May.
It's really been helping me, and I could only imagine how many others.
We want to make sure we're inclusive to everyone, because everyone deserves to eat.
Getting your kids outside and engaged in anything other than screens is so important. Parents, we could all use a little bit of help with that. Well, here comes the Greensboro Children's Museum to the rescue. I spoke with Ilyasa Shabazz about their Summer Explorer Kit program. Take a look.
So Ilyasa, when I heard about this program, I thought, what a cool way to get kids engaged and involved this summer remotely. So explain how this works and how we can get involved.
So at the museum, we are offering our Summer Explorer Kit, and really it is all of the materials and instructions that families would need for a week of activities with their child or children. And so in addition to the materials and instructions, during the first week of sales, we're also offering a virtual component where each day of the week, families can log on and speak with one of our instructors, and they'll lead you through the activities in the kit.
So let's talk about what type of activities the kids can do, because I was looking through a list. It's pretty extensive. I mean, you run the gamut here of everything.
Our education team has really gotten creative and thought of ways that our families can really just enjoy their time, even though they're not able to come into the museum itself. And so coming up, we have our Animal Adventure Summer Explorer Kit, and we also have our Spy Academy.
And really, I guess the bottom line here is it keeps kids engaged, not only with whatever their topic is, but also with the museum, because when things change, we want them to come back.
Yes, we are hopeful to open our doors when it is safe to do so, and we definitely want to keep our families engaged so that they're just as excited to come back and play again.
Thank you so much. Great place you have there. My kids grew up going to that place and still go every now and again. Thanks so much for your time today.
Yes, thank you, Eric.
Pretty cool there. And by the way, the subject matter really varies. I mean, it's all over the place. There's something for every kid out there. And the online sessions where you can talk with maybe almost like a camp counselor to help you through it, they're optional, but still a part of it. I think it's a good program.
What I like about this, Eric, is, you see all these mommy bloggers online and they tell you about these really cool activities, but then you have to go out and buy the stuff. This is like a one-stop shop situation where they will give you that kit and then they'll have the instructions ready for you.
Yeah, it's nice because, I mean, it is. It's like, an event in a box, basically. And then you can choose to do something online with the museum if you want to, or not. Just do it at home and learn. And it's everything from nature to space and science. I mean, you name it, even cooking.
What's up with you in boxes this week? Yesterday we had food in a box. Today we have camp in a box. Eric, think outside the box. I'm just kidding.
I'm trying.
I like it. We'll be back.
So skydiving is one of the ultimate bucket list items, and this story proves that it doesn't matter how old you are when you decide to make that decision to jump out of a plane.
We want to introduce you to 92-year-old Donna Zach, who lives in Michigan. 5 years ago, Zach made a bucket list. Of course, skydiving is on it. So this week, with her granddaughter in tow and her mask on, she got into a plane and she jumped. Now, she lost a glove on the way down, but other than that, she said it was an awesome experience.
It was more than I even dreamed. It was wonderful. And the jump out was fantastic. I love that part of it. I just waited for the very wonderful guy behind me to tell me what to do. And it was thrilling. Really, it was a thrill.
Oh, my goodness.
No.
Nope. Not
Nope
for me.
is the answer. I have been offered that a couple times in my TV career to say, well, we'll let you go up, for nothing, just to experience it, put on the camera. Nope, can't do it.
I can't do it either. I don't have a fear of heights, but I do have a fear of putting my life in danger. And this is one of those situations, in my opinion.
I always tell people, it's not a fear of being in the plane, it's a fear of falling out of the plane. That's what it is.
They're just... Right. There are just so many things in my mind that can go wrong, and I'm always assessing every situation to find those pitfalls. And this just seems like one huge pitfall. However, 92-year-old Miss Zach is a baller, and she's sure to jump out of that plane.
Good for her. I'll watch you do it over and over. Here we go. Let's take a look at the radar and see what's happening there with the forecast, because showers and thunderstorms, they're starting to spread around the area now. A little bit more moving into Montgomery County. So if you're in Star, Bisco, Troy area, know you're going to see some thunderstorms in the next little bit. Alamance County, you're getting a little bit of that too. Also northeastern Guilford County with a little bit of rain and a smaller thunderstorm cell. We slide west because I wanted to let folks know in Wilkes County and Surrey County, that line is pushing down towards you as well. It is that time of the year, and we kind of expect this. Rain chances in the evening, about a 50-50 shot for Friday. A dry and warmer weekend, only a 20 to 30%, and highs right around 90.
Phase 2 extended for 5 more weeks. It is a tough pill to swallow for several Triad bars whose doors are still closed. What they say about the reopening plans still paused, and the weeks ahead without any customers. That's next on WFMY News 2 at 5.
Hey, mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Here, mic check,
Wait.
mic check.
Try again.
Mic check, mic check, mic check. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Mic check, mic check. Do I need to move closer? Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check.
Hey, perfect timing. Mic check 1, 2. I'm not sitting in my chair, but I will be shortly. Mic check.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together.
Hello, hello. How's everything going today? Sounds good. Great.
Hi, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California.
Callie, there's no way I would jump out of a plane.
Wimpy, wimpy, wimpy. Hi, mic check for Maddie for the 5 o'clock news. It's time for my 2 cents, and this is the 5th month of dealing with the coronavirus in North Carolina. That's more than 21 weeks, about 150 days. How are y'all doing? You know, just 20 weeks ago, I asked you the same thing on Facebook. Here's what some of you had to say on March 17th. We are all impacted and life is different right now, but we know God is in control. All is well in Denton, North Carolina. Hope the same for you in Stu. We got this. Trying to stay positive and keeping myself as safe as possible. We are good. Stores in the mall I work out are closing to the public, so we're waiting for the mall to close its doors. My wife and I are both in the high-risk group with heart and lung problems, and we cannot find cleaning supplies, and we can't keep going out to try. You know, I took another look at all you had to say then today. I read comments filled with hope that this would all be over soon, disappointment about canceled events, and fear of the unknown. We didn't know what was to come, and honestly, we still don't. This has been a tough time all around. You know, it's been hard for me to hold on to hope, not feel that disappointment, and even not be scared of what's next. Hey, maybe you're feeling some of that too. But on March 17th, I said, let's use this time as an opportunity. Let's reset our thinking and see how we can help people, how we can be the bright spot in their day, how we can bring them hope, because not everybody deals with this the same way. And I think that's still true. I know it's harder now than it was back then, and we are all feeling that burnout and like this thing is never going to let up. But we still have an opportunity to help people, even if we need some help too. That's just my 2 cents, and that's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
March, April, May, June, July, August. All the months North Carolina bars and gyms have stayed closed.
Now with Governor Roy Cooper extending phase 2, you can add September to that list. WFMY News 2's Adoria Chumba spoke to business owners who say they're running out of patience.
Bar owners say they are running out of money. Along with gyms, they will have to stay closed till at least September 11th. And if you put all that together, by the time that comes around, they will have been closed for about 6 months.
The new normal for me consists of picking up DoorDash shifts to try to pay my rent.
It's been exactly 141 days since the bar at Drew Wofford's Chemistry nightclub in Greensboro shut down. It's amongst 1,000 of North Carolina's